What we saw this past summer, okay, and how different it was to what we saw this past week in Washington, D.C., where we had last summer peaceful protesters who were Black and of all races, who were facing full military presence, tear gas, rubber bullets. And then this week you saw armed rioters trying to overthrow the U.S. government being essentially escorted in and out. That shows you how critical it is to change the narrative on race. And that isn't going to change, in my opinion, until white people are working side by side with people of color in diverse organizations. When they see white people of color on the same path to economic mobility and the same social clubs that they're in, and they see leaders in our communities that beyond athletes and entertainers.
We're in a country divided, right? Many of us are currently existing in societies that are marked by political polarization, income inequality, and other kind of systemic issues, racism, classism, colorism. You know, I thought about the CEOs over the past couple of days, the past week. You know, many of them stepped forward to speak out against this attack, right? And it's great on one hand that these leaders are beginning to leverage that corporate voice, but they did not, however, speak to how this was different, how the response from law enforcement was different. So we find ourselves in this tremendous moment of complexity. And during quarantine, you have no distractions. You really can't look away. And so when we think about the reckoning on race that came on the back of, in the aftermath of George Floyd, that's forced all of us to learn history, begin to talk about it and act differently. I think what makes it different is I think the world can't deny that inequities exist and organizations are obviously being held to task, as they make statements denouncing racism and injustice. They're being held to task to, ensure that they actually do the work internally so they have the right to make those statements.